great Odin's raven.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
This is ridiculous. Okay, I'll go.
Hello and welcome to the FilmPulse.net podcast, episode number 57. My name is Adam. Today I'm joined by Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
Doing good.
And we're also joined by Ryan this week. How are you, Ryan?
Shitty day.
He's having a shitty day.
He's off to a bad start.
We are recording this from South by Southwest in Austin. So today we're just going to be doing part one of our South by coverage. First up, we have an interview with Matt Spicer, the director of a short film that's going to be premiering here called It's Not You, It's Me. Then we're just going to go over the films that we saw so far and then kind of give our thoughts on the festival in general. So let's just kick things off with this review. We had a chance to talk to Matt Spicer, the director of It's Not You, It's Me, which is the short film it's going to be playing here this year. So let's just jump right into that. The first thing I wanted to ask you about was where you're from. Now, I looked on your IMDb page and it says you're from Hatboro, PA. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
And is that like in the Philly area or around there somewhere?
Yeah, it's just outside. It's about like 30 or 40 minutes outside of Philly.
Oh, okay. Because I'm originally from York, Pennsylvania.
I have a couple friends that went to school out there. There are a couple colleges out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what the name of theirs was.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting right off the bat, PA native.
Yeah, that's big farmland out there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
definitely.
people don't think of, like, Pennsylvania is, like, pretty rural. Actually, I don't know what people think about Pennsylvania, but it's pretty rural, like, you know, a lot of, like, farms and trees, and, you know, it's not super, except for Pittsburgh and Philly.
Yeah, pretty much. So why don't you tell us about how you got your start in film?
Well, I went to school at USC for film, and that was sort of, you know, once I got accepted there, it was pretty much a no-brainer. I had visited California, and my grandparents lived out here when I was younger, so I sort of, you know, I always had it in my head that I wanted to come out here at some point. So I went to USC, and there you know, there weren't a lot of film opportunities where I was from. I think my brother and I were extras, like, you know, Unbreakable, that M. Night Shyamalan movie for, like, one day. That was, like, our one experience with, like, the film business. But, so it was cool being at USC and meeting people who, you know, who were doing other film stuff, and just had the same interests as I did, and made a lot of friends there. And I met this guy, Max Winkler, while I was at school. We had a bunch of classes together and sort of became friends, and then started working together from there. And right out of school, we were both we had other little things that we were working on, but both of us were kind of unhappy after we graduated because, you know, I think everyone thinks that as soon as you graduate from film school, you know, the studios are going to come knocking at your door and be like, hey, like, you know, so we want to meet you guys, you know, but it's not like that. And I was actually at the time working on some infomercial for, like, a mop, and it was just, like, horrible as a PA. And I had this idea that was kicking around, and one day I called Max and was like, hey, would you want to write this with me? And he was instantly like, yes, please, can we start tomorrow? And we went from there, and that was our first script that we sold, and, you know, we got a manager and agents off of that, and then, you know, our career sort of went from there, and, you know, we were writing a bunch. We wrote a bunch of scripts, and then I mean, just tell me when to stop talking. I can tell the whole story. You know, yeah, I guess that's where sort of things started. If your question was like, how did we get our start? That's how it went down. And then, yeah, from there, there's obviously been stuff over the last 6 years since that happened that, you know, we've been doing. But yeah.
Now, we're talking about It's Not You, It's Me, and this is a short film that you have that's going to be debuting at South by Southwest. Is this your directorial debut?
I'm not technically, but I'd sort of like to call it that. But I actually did this web series that I don't even know if it's online anymore. I like re-upload it. But a few years ago, I did this thing called So On and So Forth that was like a series of short films that I wrote, directed, and then I just got some of my friends to act in and help me shoot it. That was on for Sony's Crackle.com.
Mm-hmm.
And there's my friend Jake is in it, who is on New Girl, and my friend John, who was on CSI. So I just literally people I just met through the grapevine who I was like, would you want to come and spend a couple of days doing this thing, and we so that was technically my first thing after college that I directed, but this is I wrote a script over the last year called Stockholm that I want to make as my first feature, and I think that having a web series wasn't really enough, to sort of give people the confidence I could do this. So I was like, screw it, I'll do a short, something that's more in line with, I think, what the script I wrote is tonally, and will hopefully give people some more confidence, and that I can actually direct something narrative. So my brother and I just sort of tossed off the script for the short pretty quickly, and then we just it all kind of happened very, very quickly, which was nice, that we just went and sort of did this thing, and so that now we have this short at South by, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. I mean, you also have a really good cast in this film. So let's talk about the film itself. Maybe you can give us like a real brief synopsis without giving too much away, because I want people, because when I saw this, I kind of went into it cold, not knowing anything about it.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped, because I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, oh man, I was like, this is going to some very dark places. So maybe like a spoiler-free synopsis.
Right. Yeah, that is sort of the fun of it, isn't it? To just kind of see it and not really. That's kind of why I love watching shorts, because you can kind of get away with a lot more than you can with a feature. But yeah, I mean, sort of the brief version is that it's about a couple, and the girl starts getting annoyed with the boyfriend, and sort of every sound that he is making is just driving her crazy, and it sort of goes on from there. But with my brother and I, it sort of started with us talking about breakups and sort of what's the sort of worst, funniest version of a breakup. Like, what is the worst possible thing that can happen in a breakup that we can imagine? And that's sort of how the conversation started. So hopefully people get kind of an idea of.
Yeah, I think that it is definitely the worst version of a breakup. And the couple's played by Gillian Jacobs, who is Britta on Community, and Fran Kranz, who was he was in a bunch of Joss Whedon stuff, and he was in Cabin in the Woods. How did you get these people? Because these are some pretty big actors you got here.
Gillian that was through. I mean, as soon as I finished the script, I gave it to my friends who all sort of agreed to help me produce this, and one of my friends, Allison, who worked on casting this movie that I produced called Ceremony a few years ago. I just sent her the script. I was like, would you want to help us, help cast this just as a favor? And she was like, absolutely. And was really nice. And so she gave it to some people, and some of the names we got back Gillian, and I was like, I'm not a huge Community fan, not because I don't like the show, but I haven't really watched it. And so I went, and immediately, as soon as I recognized her name and her face, I was like, let me check this out. Actually, she had a small part in, I think, with that Steve Carell movie, the End of the World movie. And I thought she was funny in that, and so I watched some more of her stuff, and I was like, I think she'd be great. So I had, Allison, our casting person, send her, I don't know if it was her manager or her agent, the script, and she read it and liked it, and we met for coffee or lunch, and that was it. She's like, yeah, I want to do it. So it was kind of like, I was like so happy to have her agree to do this, and she was like such a sport on it too, because we had to she's like, I mean, if you see it was very physically demanding. For a short film where you're not getting paid and you're kind of working on the weekend. She was shooting Community all week, and then she'd come and work 14-hour days with us on the weekend. So she's literally working every day. So it was pretty awesome of her to do that. And Fran, I'm trying to think. Fran, I honestly don't remember how that came about. I don't know if it was Allison that brought him up. My memory's failing me. But we have some friends in common. I've met him before, and yeah, I guess somehow he got the script and was like, yeah, I want to do it. And I mean, it's definitely like in the vein of other stuff that he's done, Joss Whedon stuff, So I don't think it was too much of a stretch. But I was like so psyched that he wanted to do it because he's just got such a good physicality to him, and like he walks that fine line of like, he definitely like he can play annoying really well, but you still kind of like him, and he's not too much of a I don't know, he's balanced those two sides of his character really well.
Yeah, and I think he would be considered a rising star. I mean, he's also in the new Joss Whedon film Much Ado About Nothing, which is also having its premiere at South by. So
he's like a classic actor. I mean, he's done all this kind of fun Joss Whedon stuff, but he's like, I think he's doing the Joss Whedon thing as like Shakespeare, right? I mean, he's like he's a real he's like a Shakespearean like theater actor. Like he can do kind of anything, which is kind of cool. I should also mention Rob, who's in it. Rob Huebel. I have to just say he saved us because, and I don't think this is giving anything away, but there's a scene. He has a scene with a couple kids in it, and he agreed to do this, and he was like there for one day, and we had these kids, and there's a scene where they have to like be like kind of eating food and like making a mess, and literally we got there today, and I talked to the kids' parents, and I'm like, this is what we're going to be doing, like, can they do this? Like, oh, sure. We get there, and then, of course, these kids are really young, and so we're sitting there, and all the cameras and lights are there, and we're like, okay, like, start eating and, like, making a mess, and just the kids are just staring at us like, what? Do you want to, like, they just didn't know what to do, and so I was just like, oh my God, so everyone's tired at the end of the day, I'm like, what are we going to do? And finally, Rob's just like, a switch went on. I think it probably was like, he's like, I want to go home, but it was like, he just instantly turned it on, and just like suddenly these kids came to life, and he literally saved us because we would have been there for 5 hours trying to get these kids to like make a mess, and he instantly just like got them to do what we wanted them to do. I
don't think I'll ever look at Beefaroni the same way again.
I don't think he will either. He literally at one point it's on the dailies. He's like, this has to be the last day because I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. Like if I cut it, because it was like cold and like it'd been sitting on the table. It was like so. I mean, he was like spitting it back up and like putting it back in his mouth. It's so disgusting. But literally everyone. I don't know why everyone sort of suffered to make this short, which is really. I'm very grateful to all of my actors.
Well, it did turn out really good. I will compliment you on that because it turned out great. I was loving every second of this movie. What do you have next? What's coming up?
Well, like I said, I have the script Stockholm that I'm sort of bringing out to producers right now with the short and everything. I think it's like a good time to sort of be taking that around to people. So hopefully something will happen with that very soon, and then. My writing partner Max and I just finished this adaptation of a play called The Coward that we wrote for Big Beach and American Work. I mean, Big Beach did like Little Miss Sunshine and like a bunch of great indie movies, and they have one at Sundance this year called Toys House.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
Yeah, it's really good. And so, yeah, hopefully we'll make that. Max is directing that, and I'm going to produce that. Hopefully we'll make that this summer. And Adam Driver is going to be in it from Girls. I don't know if you watched that show, but he's really awesome. Yeah,
he had a really nice little role in Lincoln too.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he was like, we're so lucky to have you wanted to do it because he's literally, I feel like, really in demand right now. He's working with some amazing directors. So that's going to be really fun. And then just we have a couple other things we're working on right now that hopefully will be announced soon. But
well, it sounds like you're pretty busy. Sounds like you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think it's what's changed is that me sort of pursuing this directing thing has I've been writing mostly for the last few years, and I think realized that I really love directing, want to get into that. So it's been good to sort of create more opportunities that way and be pursuing that. And so, that's a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to hurt that you got your short film in South by Southwest like immediately. So I think that's
definitely doesn't hurt. Yeah, it's so fun. Have you ever been to the festival before?
No, actually, this year is going to be our first year.
You're gonna have a blast. It's so great. It's the city itself is amazing, and just the festival. Like, I've never been to Sundance, but I've been to South by a couple times before, and I really love it. I love just the whole vibe of it. It's just cool. It's just everyone's just in a really good mood. Everyone just really wants to be there and loves movies, and the food is great, and there's just like stuff to do everywhere. It's really, really cool. So I'm so excited.
I'm excited, but we're going to be working a lot there. So there's going to be a lot of writing and a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, I can't. That's like, this is for me. I get to just go and enjoy it and just kind of have fun. Yeah, you're going there to work, so I understand that. But it's not a bad place to be busy, I have to say.
No, absolutely not. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. So when is the film going to be screening there?
It's screening on March 10th at 11:30 a.m. at I think it's the Topher. Am I saying that right? It's the Topher Zach Scott Theater. I was calling it Topfer Theater for like a week until somebody corrected me. And then it's playing at on Tuesday the 12th, the Rollins Theater on Tuesday at 1:30, and then it's playing at the Vimeo Theater at 4 p.m. on the 15th.
That's great.
And it's part of the third short films program, number 3.
Mm-hmm. All right, Matt Spicer, thank you so much for taking some time to give us a chat. It's Not You, It's Me is the film, and it's going to be playing in South by Southwest, so make sure if you're there, check that out.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for talking to me.
Thanks again, Matt, for giving us a chat. Make sure you check out It's Not You, It's Me if you are in South by Southwest this week. All right, let's start off our South by conversation. We'll kick it off to you first, Ryan, since you look like you're so pleased. How have you felt about the festival so far?
It's fun time. Very tiring.
Very tiring,
but it's fun time.
So just so everybody knows, we're recording this on Sunday. It's Sunday afternoon, so we're just going to go over the movies that we saw Friday, and Saturday, and then the first one we saw today.
Yeah, this is essentially the first break.
This is really
since getting here.
We've been going pretty hard.
Since we came from Dallas.
Yeah, very little sleep. Kevin, your thoughts on the festival so far?
Highly enjoyable. It was a little bit of a logistical clusterfuck in the beginning. On our part, not South by Southwest, but we figured it out rather quickly.
On a side note, Dallas never ends.
Dallas never ends.
Dallas is everywhere. Schlotsky's, Whataburger, just on continual loop forever.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying myself so far. We've seen not one of the movies that we're going to talk about I was displeased with.
No, not at all.
I enjoyed every screening that we went to so far. So
I didn't.
Ryan didn't.
Ryan.
We'll get in. Well,
Classic
let's actually.
Ryan. Another thing to say real quick is this is all of our first time to Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And I have to say Austin, Texas is awesome.
Yeah, this is the first time Film Pulse is at South by, and we've been having a great time. Everybody's been really accommodating and very, very enjoyable. It hasn't even been too hard to get Ryan around. So
no.
Except
the Paramount. Ryan does not like the seating.
Ryan doesn't like the seating at the Paramount, but whatever. Let's talk about the first movie we saw, which is Upstream Color. This is the highly anticipated follow-up by Shane Carruth.
8 years.
8 years since his last movie, which was Primer, which we all liked. Ryan did not like. And sticking true to form, Ryan did not like Upstream Color, did you?
No.
Can you give us like a quick breakdown of what Upstream Color was about? Like the entire plot?
No.
Nothing?
No. I lost interest about 20 minutes in.
20 minutes, you were done?
Yeah.
What did you do for the rest of the film?
I watched it, but I don't like to actively think all up. I'm trying to be entertained.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you're the type that the movies are entertainment.
Yeah.
And nothing more.
Nothing more.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It's alright.
Fair enough.
You have a right to that.
Yeah. I really, really enjoyed Upstream Color. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. My review is up on the site now. You can check that out. I sort of break down. Try not to give away anything about it, because I honestly think that the best way to see this movie is to know almost nothing about it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know anything about it going in. I mean, there's some teaser trailers out there, but they don't really give anything away at all. So
no, not even close.
You don't even really know what the movie's about. So, and I would recommend just not reading, not doing anything about this, and just kind of go into it cold. But it's pretty incredible.
Yes.
Then we followed that up. Ryan and I checked out Evil Dead, the new Fede Alvarez remake of the 1981, I believe, Sam Raimi film. I thoroughly enjoyed this one as well. I mean, it's not like the best movie you will ever see, but it's still insanely violent and gory and just nonstop fun.
No, I did not know that Diablo Cody helped write
Oh
this.
yeah, Diablo Cody.
I did not know that.
And the writing was nothing special. Like that, I thought there were these really kind of overly melodramatic moments that just felt out of place. Like I didn't want any of that stuff. I just wanted it to be campy fun, and it was for the most part. But there were some elements in there, like these dramatic elements but they were just cheesy. And my review of that's up on the site too. Ryan, what'd you think of Evil Dead?
I liked it. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty awesome.
What was your favorite kill?
There's too many.
There are a lot of.
There were a lot, and I'm afraid if I mention my favorite one, I'll probably give away.
Don't give. Let's not give away any of the kills at all.
Now, I do want to point out that the reason I want to see it is because there's a nail gun fight.
There is a nail gun involved, which is excellent.
Nail gun fight.
It probably has to be one of the bloodiest movies I've ever seen. It might be the bloodiest movie I've ever seen. I mean, like, Dead Alive was pretty gory, but this is taking it to a whole new level. So
Ooh.
I would recommend checking that out. It hits theaters everywhere April 5th, I believe. So
Yes, indeed.
Go see Evil Dead. It's a lot of fun. Then we have that was actually all we got to see on Friday.
It was day one.
That was day one.
Evil Dead started a little bit late.
Yeah, we were actually going to try to go see Cheap Thrills, which is the new Pat Healy, David Koechner movie, but we unfortunately missed that.
Yeah, so sorry, Cheap Thrills.
Yeah, well, I still really want to see it, so hopefully it'll be available soon on demand or otherwise. Saturday we started off with Licks, which is directed by Jonathan Singer Vine, and this is kind of an interesting movie. I didn't really know too much about this going into it. I did see the trailer, and
I knew a guy who returned home from prison.
Yeah,
That's it.
It basically takes place in Oakland, and it's about a group of kids who attempt to rob a liquor store. It goes wrong. One of them ends up getting shot and sent to jail for 2 years, and it's just about him returning to his neighborhood, finding that it's exactly the same as he left it, and trying to sort of get out of the whole crime mentality that they have there. Very good, very well shot. All the performances I thought were really good by all the kids.
Yeah, I was completely surprised by the performances, and reading that this was, Jonathan Singer Vine's first film that he's ever made. Almost every single person involved in the making of the film has never done a film before, including the actors. But I have to say I was pleasantly surprised by the performances from everyone. Yeah,
I was too. Great visuals too, excellent cinematography, and Jonathan Singer Vine also, he wrote, directed, and produced it. So Licks is the name.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
Yeah,
and it had a good amount of humor to it too.
Oh yeah.
The dialogue was really snappy between all the characters. It was great.
Yeah.
Ryan, Licks?
I liked it. It was serious, but not so serious that it was boring.
Serious, but not so serious that it was boring. Fair enough. I think that's an honest assessment.
Now, okay.
We saw that that was the Ritz, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first film that we saw at the Alamo Drafthouse, which was
that
was a big thing.
That was fucking amazing.
That was like a big thing for all of us to finally get to be able to see a film in the Alamo Drafthouse.
Yeah.
And gotta say, I love the stuff that they do before the film.
Oh,
they're ridiculous.
Just amazing.
Little educational films or dance parties or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah, it was great. Then we saw Prince Avalanche, the new David Gordon Green film with Paul Rudd and Emile Hirsch. And I really knew nothing about this movie either.
I remember when I first heard about this, I was like, oh shit, David Gordon Green made a movie? Like, how did no one know? But then to find out that he actually did sort of just make it on a whim.
Yeah. And really, it's really just Emile Hirsch and Paul Rudd. Those are like pretty much the only two characters. There's some...
The old guy.
Yeah, there's an old guy that
drives around in a truck.
That drives around in a truck and comes into it every now and then, and
drinks a lot of booze.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. I was really surprised. I mean, Paul Rudd is. It's always a safe bet if Paul Rudd's in a movie, it's going to be funny. But when Emile Hirsch, he was actually hilarious.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna, have like comedic touches here and there, but I didn't know it would just be out and out funny.
Yeah, I mean
the entire duration.
It's definitely a comedy.
Yeah, but it is also a remake of a Icelandic movie called Either Way.
Oh, I didn't.
2011. And from reading the synopsis about the Icelandic movie, it's pretty much exactly the same. They do the same job. The same things happen, all of that. So,
it's basically, it takes place in 1988, I think.
Yeah, somewhere in the 80s.
It's because I think the backdrop is during these wildfires, these big forest fires that took place. And I think that was like in 87 or something.
Well, from reading, the wildfires took place in 2011 in Bastrop, Texas. But they just set the movie in the 80s. I don't know if there was wildfires in the 80s. I wasn't able to find anything.
They should, but at the beginning they showed the wildfires.
Yeah, I don't know if he just changed the date.
They had a little.
Yeah, they had a blurb at the beginning that said that in like 87 or something.
So apparently that wildfires happens a lot.
Yeah.
In Bastrop.
But basically, it's just about Paul Rudd and Emile Hirsch. They work for a road crew, and it's just the two of them that their job is to paint the lines on a road and put posts in, and they go out like 5 days at a time, and they just kind of have each other and they camp out, and it's really funny. It feels like a small film.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's certainly more of a return to form for David Gordon Green.
It's sort of like a weird, like mashup of what he's been doing recently with the comedy stuff, and then a mixture of the early George Washington Snow Angels.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly got more of an artistic feel than The Sitter.
Yeah, a little bit better cinematography than The Sitter.
But it definitely kind of reinvigorated my appreciation for him. And
now, Ryan, what do you think of Prince Avalanche,
Maybe laugh a lot.
Yeah, I did notice you were laughing a lot.
Now, you also had the pleasure of sitting directly behind Paul Rudd and Emil Hirsch.
Yeah. Yes.
And even asked the question, is it okay to touch them?
Yeah.
Which you, unfortunately, much to your chagrin, you weren't able to touch them, were you?
No.
So, Prince Avalanche, definitely recommend that. I don't know if that has any kind of distribution deal yet.
Nothing yet.
So, after Prince Avalanche, we saw Drinking Buddies. This is the new Joe Swanberg. It's a comedy. Definitely a comedy. This stars Olivia Wilde, Ron Livingston's in it, Anna Kendrick, and
Jake Johnson.
Who's
really grown on me. He's a really funny guy.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's the guy that's in that show The New Girl, and he was also in Safety Not Guaranteed. I feel like he's really kind of blowing up right now.
Yes.
But this is a kind of another relatively small film just about this small brewery, and there's kind of like this love quadrangle. Is that a word?
It sure is. We just made it.
Webster, get on that shit.
Quadrangle.
I really enjoyed this too. I didn't expect a lot going into it for whatever reason, and I found it to be incredibly funny, and the dialogue was really, really good too. Everything felt really natural. All the conversations, everything felt ad-libbed.
Yeah, because it was.
And
which is the nice thing, how Swanberg doesn't really. I mean, he has sort of like an outline.
Right.
And he knows where he wants the characters to go, but everyone just sort of improvises themselves, and which really, I guess, brings in injects their personalities into the characters themselves.
Yeah, and you could really tell that too with all the characters. Everything just seemed very natural.
Yeah, it felt like I was hanging out with some cool people.
Yeah.
For like an hour and however long it was.
I will say, the name is Drinking Buddies, and they do a lot of drinking.
They just drink all the time. It's just beer after beer, and I never wanted a beer so badly.
Yeah, no.
During that movie.
Yeah. What'd you think of Drinking Buddies, Ryan?
I enjoyed it for the most part.
Did it make you laugh?
Yeah, I laughed a lot, actually.
I feel like every movie that we're talking about, you're just, it was good. Yeah. I'm just sensing this indifference for like every movie. I want there to be a movie. Like, what is required for you to be like that was amazing?
Besides Jessica Biel and a character in a wheelchair, what do we need?
Well, I thought Anna Kendrick would do it for him, but
didn't work. What do you think of the characters?
They were kind of weird. They got
Jake Johnson, the beard,
yeah,
the guy with the beard.
He makes me laugh a lot.
Yeah, he's extremely funny in this film.
Yes, and Olivia Wilde too.
Yeah,
like the role that she had was like really different than all of her previous movies that I've seen. At least she was just a different character, and it was really fun, and I mean, she was really funny.
I haven't seen a lot of Olivia Wilde's work, but I feel as though this is her best work.
Maybe.
Best performance.
Yeah, I mean, she is going to be in Burt Wonderstone, too, so that's another comedic role for her. I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and say that this role was better than Burt Wonderstone.
Probably, because, I mean, she just felt...
Everyone in the film felt really comfortable.
Yeah.
Everyone came off very natural. Everything was very genuine.
Yeah. And then after Drinking Buddies, Ryan and I got a chance to check out Haunter, which is the new Vincenzo Natali film. This is the guy that did Cube. And go back and listen to one of our previous episodes. I believe it was the last episode. We actually got a chance to interview him and talk to him a little bit about this movie. This stars Abigail Breslin, and it's sort of like... I think he even mentions it in our interview. It's like the Nicole Kidman movie, The Others, where Abigail Breslin plays a ghost in this house, and basically she's just trying to uncover what happened to her and her family, and there's all kinds of creepy things going on. It's pretty much a standard haunted house movie. There are a lot of pretty cool twists that happen throughout, but overall it was okay. It wasn't like mind-blowing or anything. Again, a lot of the visuals were pretty cool, but there was some CG work that was a little iffy.
From what you were telling me, it sounds like Groundhog Day meets
right. Yes, that's
others.
Yeah, that's
Minus
the other.
Bill Murray. There's no Bill Murray, right?
No, there's no Bill Murray, and that is the other thing I wanted to mention. The kind of predicament she's in is that she lives the last day of her life over and over again in this house. And she can't leave the house, and she just, every time she goes to sleep, she wakes up, it's the same day over and over. But the interesting thing that they do in this is, what happens is, it's like that for like a few weeks, and then things start to change. Like, just little things will happen that are different than before. And that kind of adds to the whole mystery of it.
Now I'm a little more intrigued.
Yeah, once... And there's also a really cool part where the film style changes to like this kind of 50s film stock where it's really grainy, and then there's like these frame skips that happen, and when they do that was a really cool effect when they do that.
You enjoyed the 50s grainy footage, Ryan?
I like the, like, it almost looked to me like stop motion.
Stop motion?
But it wasn't animated.
No,
like a slower frame rate, or
it's the frame rate skips.
Yeah. So it appears that way a little bit. So what do you think of Haunter?
It wasn't terrible.
Wasn't
But
terrible.
it wasn't great either.
Ryan's stamp of indifference wasn't terrible.
I expected to be more freaked out. That was not.
Yeah, it is a horror movie. There's no, and again, in his interview, he talks about this. He didn't want to use any kind of blood or gore, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I love atmospheric horror, and this tries to go that route. I don't think it's entirely effective. There are a couple creepy parts to it, and they try to do several jump scares throughout, but overall I didn't think it was that scary, really. And then today, Sunday, we just got out of a screening of 12 O'Clock Boys. This is directed by Lotfi Nathan, who we also interviewed in a previous episode, so make sure you go back and check that out. This is a really, really interesting documentary about this illegal dirt bike gang in Baltimore City, and I really, really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, this is perfect. The way he did it was perfect. I mean, he follows around Pug, who he filmed him for like 3 years, essentially, and Pug is trying to get into the 12 O'Clock Boys. Right. All he wants to do is ride dirt bikes, pop some wheelies, and
raise some hell.
That's right. He just wants to. He's gonna fuck that summer up.
Yeah.
Because the previous summers were bullshit, and it's a nice like cinema verte style where he's following him around and you're just documenting the life of Pug and the other riders, and just what they go through and everything. The only thing that there's a part of me that wished that they like showcased the other point of views, but then I realized that now, he did it the right way. He was documenting their story, what they're doing, what they're going through, and how they're essentially trying to just find a way to release all the stress that they go through.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. This was really, really cool. I mean, he got a lot of great footage out of this. I mean, the movie visually looks amazing. The music is really good. All the camera work, I loved like all the title cards and stuff. I thought.
And another thing too, if you like car chases and stuff, there's actually several points in this documentary where like the tension was like ramped up like during these chase scenes when the police are chasing him. It was like watching, you know, like any action movie, but almost better.
The other thing that I liked about it was that there were moments where you could hear the director Lotfi when he was talking to them, and I actually like that. There's some movies where I don't prefer that in a documentary, where they keep, you know, the director asking questions and stuff. But in this movie, I thought that it was really it was nice.
Because a lot of times, I think you probably agree with me. The reason you don't like that is it seems like the director's trying to like get himself into it. But you could tell that just Laffy Nathan over time was just, he came very close with these people. So he's just conversating with them as you would normally.
Right.
Except that he has a camera on him.
And what did you think of it, Ryan?
It's hard to understand that some, like, hard to understand what the people are saying. But
I'm sure our listeners are familiar with, especially because you're... If you could see Ryan right now, he has his head down, he's playing on his phone, and he's speaking at like minus 12 decibels.
Oh, God.
I enjoyed that. There were subtitles, no.
This is the only time that you liked subtitles.
When I can't hear what's going on, yes.
Oh, my.
Oh, 12 O'Clock Boys, the first film to make Ryan appreciate and like subtitles.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I don't know either.
I do recommend, highly recommend 12 O'Clock Boys. It is an excellent, well-crafted documentary from a first-time director, too, so...
Yeah, very impressive for a first-time director. Both of the movies that we saw were both, you know, that and Licks that were first-time directors were extremely impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that does it for what we've seen so far. Join us tomorrow when we'll be having part 2, covering some more movies that we were able to check out. Also, check the site. We have reviews up for The Rambler, I Am Divine, and Euphonia, which are all making their world premieres here at the festival. We were also able to check all of those out.
Plus, we also have interviews with all 3 of those directors.
Yes, we do, and we have interviews with Calvin Lee Reeder, who's the director of The Rambler. That's available on the website, and we have interview with Jeffrey Schwartz, who directed I Am Divine. That's on last week's episode, I believe, and we also have the director of Euphonia,
Danny Manning.
That was several weeks ago that we did that, so go ahead and look at our back catalog for all that fun stuff. I think that does it for today.
Any final comments, Ryan?
Final comments so far?
You want to bring up?
He's tired. Yes, we're all very tired, but that's to be expected. All right, tune in tomorrow. Until then, for all the latest film news and reviews, visit us at filmpulse.net. And we want to hear your feedback. Send us an email at feedback@filmpulse.net or call our voicemail line at 850-391-6071. For filmpulse.net, my name is Adam.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Ryan.
And we will see you tomorrow.
See you later.
Yes! I got to witness it.
So I text his phone, nigga, what you doing? I'm away over east looking for some chewing. Had to block that shit like Pastor doing. Meet me over my crib cause I got a new one. She fat as fuck and she a yellow bone. She set my music, turns her on. Plus she on that purple drink, sipping it out that styrofoam. Yeah, you know we had to work her. I let her dance first because she claiming she a twerker.
You're not going to talk into your dick. You're going to talk into the speaker, into the microphone.
Fucking yellow. Alright, yellow.
Did you say YOLO? I should smack you for that.
YOLO.